Welcome back. Roxana Ferguson joining us for the first segment on our Monday, which is unusual. It's great to have you here.
It is so.
Yes.
I had a hard time finding you in this smoke.
I know.
I felt so
quite
bad.
Something.
Oh, I saw a tourist on the street this morning looking for directions, and I'm like, yeah, it's so sad.
Yeah, it is. Let's hope it clears out as we get towards the middle of the week. Talking about Ribfest for our first segment, of course, Roxana is with Daybreak Rotary. Another great success, I know. But how did the smoke affect you guys?
I actually think that the smoke was really just Sunday, right? Which is unfortunate because we had the pancake breakfast, we had the show and shine cars there, we had Machine Mayhem with Finning, which was it turned out really well, but I think had there not been any smoke, there would have been, probably 3 times the people. But it was very well received as it was. But it was the rain and the wind that, unfortunately kind of changed things. I mean, there were troopers that came out anyway, but I think had it been, 36 degrees and sunny the whole weekend, that definitely would have changed the numbers. But Kamloops people make the best of everything.
They certainly
right?
do. Yeah.
I mean, we saw people huddled together under the tents. Last night it was amazing. Everybody, there was just a huge crowd for the Beatles tribute. It was really, really good to see.
And 3 great cover bands. I know there's all kinds of great music, but the big ones, of course, the Tragically Hip cover band, and then the Eagles was Saturday night, and then last night was the
Beatles.
The Beatles. So I mean, you can't go wrong. I'm sure the crowds in front of the bandshell were impressive.
Well, and that's one thing they talked about. I was in the back in the beer garden section, so I wasn't up front, but we were talking about that when we were still there at 10 o'clock last night. How there were 4-year-olds dancing up front with 64-year-olds. Right? It's so neat to see. So yeah, it was awesome.
Okay, and then tap takeover. I know there was a beer tap takeover by all the local craft breweries. Yeah, how'd that go?
They were happy to be there, happy to get the exposure. Again, I think had it been warmer, it would have been a much bigger day.
Sure.
So, I talked to Megan, and she was from the Noble Pig, and she was super happy to be there, get the exposure. I think in the family fun zone or in the family beer garden, it did better. Family fun zone, that's not right.
The family beer garden.
Yeah, exactly. Because they were right there. In the beer garden in the back, it was a little bit quieter because the people were up front. So, but I'd love to see them do it again because I think it will only grow.
Sure. We have some visuals. Of course, those tasty ribs. I think people in Kamloops like their meat as well, Roxana, whether it's rib, steak, or otherwise. It draws thousands to the park every year. These actually were my favorite guys. Those Boss Hogs. Those are my favorite ribs.
No, you can't say that. My kids worked for House of Q and Prairie Smoke.
Oh, did they? Well, I'm sure they were excellent as well. But you know what? I was down there live on Midday on Friday, and I got to try all 6 of them, and they're all excellent. Boss Hogs was my favorite, but it's all good.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, it is a good thing. And I have to ask the obvious: is this going to be something you guys continue? Because I know how much work goes into this for you guys. The city of Kamloops does a yeoman's job of helping you guys, but this is a Rotary function. It is a lot of work. I know that you were able to sort of contract out some of the jobs to make it a little bit more tolerable for Daybreak, but is it going to continue?
I love this guy, the fellow that was just dancing. Yeah. He was hilarious to watch. Well, I'm sure there will be another Ribfest, absolutely. If you're asking me personally, I would love to see the city become more involved because it's really become such a community event.
Truly.
With the SPCA helping in the corn tent and Genix helping with the fun zone, and it has truly become a community event. So I would love to see the city come forward that way. I think in some way, shape, or form, it was born by Rotary, so I think it will continue somehow through Rotary. Danica Wilkinson, who basically chaired the whole event, she is a great Rotarian, so, we'll always be a part of it. I think, things change, things evolve, we learn, we grow, and so, I can't see there not being another Ribfest, and Rotarians always step up to the plate no matter what the event is, right? So, yeah, and huge thank you to everybody, not just all the Rotarians that donated their time and effort to this, but there were a lot of people who have nothing to do with Rotary that just, like a fellow, Rick, that comes out and always volunteers for me. I think he said this was his 5th year. He's got nothing to do with Rotary, but he just loves the interaction, he loves the energy, he loves the vibe.
Is that our Rick Chapman?
No, Rick Fowles.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a bartender for me every year.
That's awesome.
So it's great. and it's something he loves to do. So yes, thank you very much to all the volunteers.
Yeah.
We really couldn't do it without them.
We have about a minute left, and just in finishing, I know that we don't have numbers. You guys do raise great money for this. I know that most of your proceeds come out of the beer gardens. You get a bit small of a cut from Ribs. Where does this money go? Is it a special a pot of money that goes to one specific thing, or does it just get put into the coffers?
No, we try and put all the money into youth and seniors in our community. This year we do it a little bit differently because, as you said, the SPCA, they got the proceeds from the corn tent because that's something. So we're reaching out a little bit differently that way. Gen X got proceeds. So there's lots of different groups that got money before the event was even finished because of their participation in the event. But the rest of the money, definitely, youth and seniors are our priority. And we're looking at a big project right now that some of the Ribfest money will go into. We're just in the beginning stages of seeing how that will work as a big project for all the Rotary clubs to be a part of. But absolutely, youth is I think our number one because that's something that has always been close to us, and seniors are right there with them.
Well, hats off, Roxana. I saw you there. I was only there Friday and Saturday, but you were running around all weekend long, as were so many.
There were lots of us.
I know. You all are just busy, but always with bright smiles on your face, willing to answer any questions. Always a great experience. I haven't missed one Ribfest yet, and I know a lot of people in the community feel the same way. It's just such a great event. So hopefully in whatever fashion it continues, it will still continue.
It'll continue, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And, it's nice that you're there every year, but this year I heard so many people who had come for the first time.
Is that right?
And it's like, what a great event. We'd never been to this before. It's like, how can you miss it?
That's right.
Even if you don't eat ribs, Nandy's was there, and the lemonade stand and the ice cream.
And the mini donuts.
And the mini donuts.
I know. I had them on my show on Midday on Friday. I couldn't help it.
Awesome.
Love the mini donuts. Roxana, thank you for being here.
My pleasure always.
Yeah. We'll take a quick break. We'll have your travel deals next. Stay with us.